All right, Rennie, we're live on the Books4Guys podcast today. Man, it is good to connect with you, man. How are you this week?
I'm doing great, man. Just always staying busy and trying to, move things forward with business and lining things up for already for 2026. So yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. You're doing some incredible things. I've been keeping up with you on LinkedIn and everywhere, and we have some mutual connections now. And they're like, "Yeah, man, Rennie's running 300 miles an hour most days, doing all kinds of stuff." And so, man, it's been cool to see everything you're doing. And I see your Georgia Bulldog flag back there.
Yes, sir.
That's right, man. So I don't know if I can say go dogs though. I was born a Razorback.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Not much of a threat to you guys by any means, but no, I cheer for Georgia as well though. I lived in Atlanta and loved watching Georgia play and still do. But man, for people that don't know you, Rennie, you obviously big time linebacker at the University of Georgia. Got drafted in the NFL in the third round to the Tennessee Titans. Career took a little bit of a turn probably than what you were expected, and you share that story a lot. But man, talk about that story. Talk about how you grew up and your time playing ball, and then kind of where it's led to what you're doing now.
Yeah, man. And I appreciate you once again having me on the show. And like you said, I was able to achieve my dream of playing at University of Georgia in the NFL and CFL and experience that transition, which is what a lot of what my book is about. But before all that started, man, it really started with humble beginnings. Both my parents, being Liberian immigrants, came here to Atlanta in the 80s. My mom was a nurse, so she got her master's in nursing to Emory. That's how we ended up in Atlanta. And then I was born right in Midtown area. And so, yeah, Atlanta as it gets, really. She worked at Grady Hospital. Anybody that's been to Atlanta knows Grady is right smack dab in the middle of downtown. She worked there for like 40 years. And I'll say my early part of my life was in Atlanta. We moved to Gwinnett when I was 10. And that's when I started playing the game of football. Parents knew nothing about it. Just happened to have a little league coach who was just amazing and was a huge Georgia fan. And so he was the one who kind of exposed me to the culture of Georgia football, SEC. His son was a quarterback. I played running back at that time. And we just had an amazing team. I mean, we still are connected to this day, 20 something years later. I don't even know how many years it's been, but we're all connected. We all got a group text and we're family, literally. And he was that guy who not only took me my first Georgia game, but he introduced me to trainers and just different people. His wife would help me out as well too whenever we fell on some hard times. So, whether it was them or teachers, coaches, lunch ladies, janitors, I had a lot of people that really just took a liking to me and really cared a lot about me and poured into me before I was even a Georgia player. And so that's something that has become a theme in my life is just the importance of giving back, the importance of community, and the importance of just taking whatever you build in your life and it not just being about you, but about how you can leverage that and help others reach the highest level. So by the time I got to high school, not only was my dream to go to Georgia, but I started like really leveraging my platform at that time, started speaking, started being put in leadership positions. That was another thing for me as well. So my counselor, she put me as a peer leader, which meant I had to speak to kids at lunch. And then I would go to elementary schools and read to them. Like I didn't even know anything about public speaking at this time or coaching or anything like that. But I continually found myself in these positions. Every team I was on, I was in a leadership position. Post game, I'm doing interviews, things like that. So yeah, once I got to, like I said, Georgia and the NFL, the platform just continued to grow, and speaking became one of those things that I just kind of did. And when I got cut in my second year, and I started thinking about, okay, what skills do I have? What things can I do that can add value outside of my jersey if I can never hit people again? And through that process of self discovery and just working on myself, reading books, I realized, communication is something that comes pretty natural to me because it's something I've always done, whether it's interviews or the pregame, postgame speeches and whatnot. And so that's what led me to starting to write my first book. It was that realization, but then also realizing how many people would be in the same position I was in life, whether they lose a job, they go through a divorce, just some major change. And so I took the concept of being a free agent where I was and really related it to life and how we all become a free agent in some way, shape, or form in life. And so the book really talks about that and how you really, when you find yourself in those moments, how you can really build yourself during that time of uncertainty when you're in the wilderness and how you can leverage it to come out on the other side a much better person, much more certain in who you are, your faith, how your mindset is built during that time. Self-motivation is built during that time. How you really are able to give back, ultimately leveraging what you built leading up to that time as well too. So yeah,
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. That's awesome that you talk about all the impact that a lot of other people had on you, which kind of molded you into the person that you are today and kind of helped you get, I don't know, just get your footing on being able to speak and becoming a leader and getting those opportunities. And now you're able to do the exact same thing back to others and being able to help others get through whatever they're going through and whatever life's pivots they're having to go and I don't know shift directions. It's not easy. It's cool that you've been vulnerable in a way too of like, hey, I was big time linebacker. I'm sure your vision was like, hey, I'm gonna be a Hall of Fame NFL linebacker.
yeah,
And things just don't work out that way, and that's life for a lot of people. But being able to not stay down, but take the next step and say, hey, what am I going to do with this? And what am I going to create positively from all this? And man, you're doing that. Uh,
thank you, man.
I know you said like you were kind of a natural leader. It sounds like your family and these people had such a big impact on you. But when it comes to writing a book, did you ever think growing up that you would author and write a book?
Definitely not. Definitely not. It was the furthest thing from my mind. Like I didn't even like writing a paper when I was
Yeah.
young. I tell people all the time. Only time I like writing is if I was trying to get a girl's number
Yeah.
and I was writing her a love letter. Like that was the only time I liked writing and took an interest in it. But yeah, like the times that I did like writing was usually when it was something that was meaningful to me, something that was aligned with my purpose, not something I was being forced to do. And so, I had a couple teachers, and it's funny. I actually just spoke at her school. She's a principal now, but I spoke at her school, and that was one of the things I told the students was, hey, like even if you don't like it, it doesn't mean you can't one day be an author. Like whatever dream you have, you can do that. But she would get us to journal at that time, and actually one of the first journal entries I have, because she still has my book, my journal and everything. The first entry was me talking about getting ready for a football game and how I wanted to be a football star. And I took like a string of my jersey at that time and put it in that journal. So it just goes to show that, when you do write about something that you're passionate about, something that's aligned with your purpose and calling, that it just flows out of you. And so, it's no different than when it came to writing this book. Like I spent a lot of time by myself, and it didn't really even start out as a book. It started as a way to just vent about where I was at. And then through that process, I realized, like I said, there were so many people who would be going through that time. And I was 22 at this time. It's back in 2011, 2012. And now it's crazy how relevant this book is because so many people are getting laid off. We're seeing it happen every single week now, just thousands in all these major companies because of AI or one reason or another. So it's crazy how you can write something and then it may not be even that relevant at that time, and then years later, it may pick up. So yeah, it's been a really, really amazing process just doing it and had to overcome imposter syndrome and different things. Because the first thought is like, why would anybody want to read a book by somebody who played linebacker?
Yeah.
What does that have to do with leadership or overcoming adversity or resilience and things like that? And what I realized is actually what I went through is what a lot of people go through, whether they're a corporate CEO, they're a politician, they're somebody who's been in any type of leadership position or position where they've had to do it for a lot of years and then all of a sudden or be with somebody for a lot of years and then all of a sudden there's a shift and it's like you have to recalibrate who you are. You have to ask yourself those real questions, look yourself in the mirror and reevaluate your identity. So yeah, it's been a really, really enlightening and interesting journey writing the book.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned imposter syndrome because actually we had someone on earlier this year talking about exactly that. And he works with leadership individuals and people doing the same thing. But the common theme is like when you get uncomfortable and you're trying to do something that you're not used to and you're trying to expand what you do, it seems like everybody, even you may see somebody who looks successful and has
Mhm.
it all together. But underneath, it seems like a lot of people struggle with that of, hey, am I the best person to be doing this? Am I the best person to be writing a book and sharing this message? Is there someone better than me? But
Mhm.
just knowing it and you sharing that, like, hey, we all kind of go through that when you're trying to level up. And that's really, Rennie, that's the purpose of these conversations, with Books for Guys, trying to have an impact on young guys, and I have a soft heart as a former athlete too for high school athletes or young college athletes where, they're trying to figure out life and trying to
Mhm.
figure out what they want to be. But seeing someone like you who they're trying to say, hey, Rennie was a linebacker at Georgia, played in the NFL, and now he's doing all these great things. Like what is Rennie doing that I need to be doing? Well, Rennie's out living his passion, speaking to people. He's authoring books, and just doing some really cool things. So it's cool to have these conversations because I know your story is going to motivate someone
Mhm.
else that's coming up, and I know that probably means a lot to you too, knowing that you can make a difference. And you see it every day. You're talking with all kinds of people, professionals, young folks, and all of that. But it's really cool that you've steered your direction and passion into having an impact on people. I just think that's so cool.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man, and it's definitely been fulfilling and been amazing, like to just learn about different people. And what you realize is many times there's a lot of similarities, there's a lot of patterns. Just like when I play, right? It's like you play against enough offenses, you start to learn. They
Yeah.
like to do certain things on 1st and 10 and certain
Yep.
things on third and
Tendencies.
five. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it starts to repeat itself. And so now at this point, I've spoken in terms of delivering keynote presentations, workshops, and executive coaching to pretty much every industry. Now, the cool thing is sports is one of those things that's like a universal language. And
Yeah.
the principles of sports are also universal. So whether it's like the leadership piece, the mindset, the teamwork aspect, the culture, all those things are agnostic in terms of the fact that it doesn't matter what industry, if it's healthcare, if it's financial services, if it's professional services, you're talking to a group of attorneys or a group of realtors, like a lot of the same principles make you great that derive from sports. So I've been able to leverage that. And so that's been one of the coolest things is being able to take all those experiences from the field and apply it now to the boardroom and really help organizations move the needle in a meaningful way. And something that I never thought, like I said, that I'll be able to do. And for any athlete, any young guy who is playing sports, just realize like you have a lot of value that you can provide outside of the field, outside of your jersey. Don't let anybody box you in or make you feel like you're just a jock and that's it. You're less than. So that's something I really try to communicate, but also live out, through the things that I do.
Yeah. Well, you're setting a great example, man, and your story is awesome. When it came to speaking, you mentioned you were kind of always pushed to be the one to lead and speak, but as you've gotten bigger and bigger, and you're talking to bigger audiences in different parts of the country and all of that, do you have a coach that you've worked with or people that you lean on to learn from when you go about these sessions, or like is it something that you've just naturally kind of chipped away at to get better and better, and you've kind of just naturally become a better speaker? I'm always curious because I know like I talk to a lot of people that they do awesome things and they're like, dude, I have help. Like people help me, with my craft even now. I'm just curious, like kind of what your approach is to speaking and how you've gone about training and getting better for that.
Yeah, I would say it's three things. Definitely have had some help over the years. Like very early on, I got a little bit of coaching and just some pointers. Went to some Toastmasters meetings, different things like that. Watched mentors, guys who were 10 years, 15 years ahead of me, like John Gordon, who wrote Energy Bus and a few others. I would study them. Les Brown, any speaker I could watch Simon Sinek, all those
Yeah, love
individuals. They
him.
weren't my one-on-one coach where we're sitting on like this on Zoom, but I watched them from afar and was coached by them from afar, just learning different techniques, watching YouTube videos. And then after that, I had to get out there and get the reps, right?
Yeah,
So that was the next phase, just getting in there, getting the reps, getting in the moment, reading the room. So if I say something, everybody goes like this, or everybody goes to sleep, that will give me immediate feedback as to if I'm, doing well, if I'm communicating the right way, listening to things that they would say after I speak, what stood out to them, all those different aspects, just as I would go out and present. And each time I would go, I would get just a little bit better. I would learn just a little bit more. And I tell guys all the time, especially when I'm talking to athletes, it's like, hey, you just got to get the reps. It's no different than the first time you step out on the field in little league or pee wee leagues when you're playing versus when you're in high school versus when you're in college. Those are three different individuals, three different levels of technique and skill sets, right? Three different levels of mindset. So each time I went from schools to churches to Rotary clubs to companies to associations, like that was a different level of just how I approached what I did, and I got better and better as I went on. And then the last piece and most important piece, I think, is reviewing and like
mhm,
just evaluating yourself. That self evaluation piece, that which you got to be aware. If you're just going out, I mean, you got the best coach, as you know, you can go out and do something, but if you're not taking the time to really evaluate, look yourself in the mirror, and be tough on yourself, have your own kind of feedback loop within yourself, then you'll just keep doing the same thing over and over,
Yeah.
not really improving. So that was probably the most important thing and it was painful, right? Like watching yourself and hearing your voice the first time, it's not going to sound the way you think you sound
Yeah.
because you're in your head.
Yeah.
So it's getting through all those painful processes, hearing the ums and the ahs and all those filler words. And then over time, as you continue on with that process, you get better and better, like I said.
Yeah. There's never like a more humbling phrase from a coach, and they're like, "Film don't lie." And you're
Yeah, that's
watching
it.
something and you're like, "Dang, I didn't realize it was that bad. I thought it was good."
Exactly.
But it's the you're right, it's the best thing to do to learn from and to grow with. And do you still get, when you're talking to a large audience, do you get butterflies like you did before a game? Is it similar
Yeah.
type of feeling where you're kinda getting amped up, ready for the moment?
Oh yeah, and that's one of my favorite things about speaking is the whole entire process of it. Not just speaking, but just everything leading up to it before. I mean, I tell people all the time they don't necessarily see it this way, the average person, but speaking, especially like when you're doing the large events, is very similar to being an athlete, running out the stadium and just even the night before the preparation. And then afterwards you review that film and things like that. It's for me, it's the closest I can get to playing without having any pads on anymore. Just yeah, the butterflies that I get, I do a walkthrough just like I used to walk the stadium the night before the game. I walk the facility in the room that I'm going to be speaking in the night before, get on the stage and just get a feel for it, visualize myself getting a standing ovation and making an impact. And yeah, just I warm up, I do a workout before, maybe like an hour before I speak,
Yeah,
just to get the juices flowing. So
yeah,
yeah, I learned how to recreate that feeling and the same kind of association mentally. And I think that's huge. Most of us don't realize like our mind works off association. So if something is exciting and you relate that to something else, 9 times out of 10, your brain is going to give the same response.
yeah,
So that's one thing that's really, really helped me like to overcome the fears of
yeah.
speaking and just the nervousness and the anxiety that can sometimes come with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got me over here thinking about it and you got my adrenaline going. I'm like, man, it'd be so cool. You got to get out on stage, get everybody hyped up, and share
Yeah.
your message. And there's probably not a better feeling when you get done knowing that you just crushed it
Oh
and
yeah.
had an impact. So I'm sure that's a great feeling. Like you said, it's probably one of the few things you can do that mimics that feeling of an athlete of
Definitely.
being able to have that audience that you're in front of. Now, Rennie, you do have a second book that you've written. You were telling me about. What one is that about? You're talking about, I think you
Yes.
wrote one with your daughter, right?
Yep, yep. It's called "What Does It Take to Be a Star," and I wrote that book in around like 2018. She was around like 8 years old, and yeah, it's all about character. Really, essentially, it follows the journey of a young boy who's curious about what it takes to be special in life, and so he talks to his mentors in his area, and they all give him a different quality that represents character. So one talks about work ethic, another one talks about having a good attitude, another one talks about just perseverance. Another one talks about patience. The firefighter talks about being a servant and caring more about others and things like that. So it really just teaches kids that being a star has nothing to do with your title or just your title. It's more about who you are as a person. And it's done really, really well. We've done tons of school assemblies and book
Yeah,
readings and different things like that. And the cool thing for me, being a father, is being able to teach my daughter about things like public speaking and entrepreneurship
yeah,
and getting her out of her comfort zone. The first
yeah,
time she came with me to like a book signing or a book reading, she was nervous. She was like, I don't know if kids are going to like me and I don't know what to say and all that. And now she's completely comfortable getting in front of an audience. Like I said, she was 8. Then now she's crazy to say she's 17 now. And
yeah,
so she's totally comfortable, whether it's like we go to an event and we have a table and we're selling
yeah.
books. She knows how to network, knows how to articulate herself. So it's been one of the coolest experiences being able to do it with her.
Yeah, I was about to say that's something you guys will have forever, having that
Yeah,
book together and share all those moments. So that's pretty cool that you guys did that. And yeah, crazy how fast time flies, right? Like
yeah,
2018. I mean, how much she's grown, and but you guys will always have that moment getting that done. So, Rennie, last question for you. I ask everybody this, just from a Books for Guys standpoint, and you mentioned a couple guys that I follow, and I've read some of their books. But what's a book or two that has had a impact on you, either personally or professionally? And if someone asks you, "Hey, Rennie, what's a good book that you would recommend me reading?" What do you like to recommend?
yeah. There's several books. So
Yeah.
one of the first books I read that kind of got me down that journey of personal development and improving mindset and leadership was Napoleon Hill's Law of Success.
Mm,
That was just huge. A lot of principles in there that can once again apply it to anybody in any area of life. And then Og Mandino, Greatest Salesman in the World, was another one that was super motivational at a time when I was going through that transition, trying to just stay positive and keep my mind right. Another book, I'll say Atomic Habits is one that just makes you mindful of how you spend your time and the habits that you're building on a day-to-day basis. My book that I'm reading right now that's really, really great, that's changed my perspective or also been aligned and kind of confirmed the thoughts that I have around career and progression is Arthur C. Brooks From Strength to Strength. It's really, really good. It just talks about getting out of that mindset of workaholism and really changing how you see success and what ultimately success can be if you approach it in the right ways that he mentions in the book. So that book is really huge. And I'm reading that actually right now. I got about 2 chapters left, but it's really powerful. It's more for that person who's going through a transition to try to kind of redefine how they approach their career and how to take their performance and all the knowledge they built and how to transform that into something that's more sustainable. But anybody, like I believe, if you like long before you reach that position of retiring or transitioning, it's such an important book that everybody I believe should read so that you don't get on the hamster wheel of life and then get to
yeah.
the end of it and you realize, dang, I just wasted my life or feel like you're a failure because you didn't reach the Hall of Fame or whatever. So yeah, it's a really good one.
Yeah. Nice, man. I haven't read that, but you're right. Life is short. And you only got a small amount of time to make an impact or do what you want to do.
Yeah.
The only book I've read that you mentioned was Atomic Habits, which is a great one. So I'm going to add the others to my list as those are all books that I'd probably be interested in reading. And probably a lot of people listening to this will be interested in reading just based off who I know are the type of people that, listen. But no, Rennie, man, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time today to do this. I know you're busy. Every time I follow you on LinkedIn, it's like you're speaking here, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I was like, man, I gotta catch Rennie and try to get him on here, man. He's got such a cool story. So man, it's an honor we've got your book on the Books4Guys website. So if anybody's interested in reading it or purchasing it, you can find it there. Obviously, Rennie, you're all on social media, so people can find you on LinkedIn, Instagram, and see what all you're doing. But man, just keep going. It's so cool to watch guys like you just doing awesome things. It's motivating. So man, just can't wait to see what all you accomplish throughout your life and career. And man, we're always here for you. However, Books4Guys can help be a platform for you.
Yeah, and I appreciate you having me on once again, man, and all the things that you do as well. I think it's extremely important, just the cause and the initiative of guys reading and expanding their minds. I mean, that's I can't say enough about how that's transformed my life. Just the first time I actually picked up a book and didn't go on Cliff Notes, but actually read it all the way through, how it just changed my mind and how it changed my outlook on life. And I actually that makes me think of another book that another couple books that would be good for men to read, especially in terms of relationships and different things like that, is The Truth About Men. That's another really good one that can help men, especially if they struggle with self control and different things like that as it relates to women and things. Man, I think it's such an important topic. Just how you lead yourself in relationships and your mindset, how you see yourself, loving yourself, things like that. But yeah, absolutely love what you're doing, what you stand for, what you're trying to do for guys. And for any guys that are listening, if I can never support you, I mentor a lot of young guys as well, outside of just writing the books and speaking and all those things as well. So super passionate about that, man. And thank you again for what you do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we appreciate it, Rennie.
Yes, sir. If I can ever do anything too, man, for you, let me know.
Absolutely, man. You got to write more books so we can have more conversations and
Heck,
spotlight them.
yeah, for sure. I got some more coming, so I'll definitely keep you
I
posted.
figure you probably did. There's gonna be more coming, I'm sure.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Thanks, Rennie.
Yeah, no problem.